Hello, my name is Sebbi, and welcome back to the coffee break in Minecraft. Today is Wednesday, September 12th, 2018. Today I will finally start the next expedition to explore this gigantic map, and once I'm done with this map I will explore even more maps because I like to create a super map wall that shows a huge portion of the coffee break world. And yeah, I think that's a great project. That's a super cool project. I can't wait for it. But first I need to organize a little bit my inventory, and I need to secure the horse so that it's, hey, careful my friend, so that the horse is not running away while I am on this expedition. And yeah, I think I will start with the horse and secure the horse in the storage building. Also today I will finally start to talk about my research. I will start to talk about the first paper that got published on the VS Games conference. And yeah, I really hope you will like this more scientific approach in the coffee break, that we can have some fun, that we can discuss some relevant topics, that we can discuss, well, my scientific findings. They might be not that important, but at least they are new things that expand a little bit the knowledge of the world. So I think that's still a super cool thing to talk about. And yeah, I hope that this will be a super cool episode and a super cool start into this kind of series. Alright, what do I leave behind? I don't need the hoe. Maybe I need a new shield. Do I need a shield? Well, in the worst case I can... No, I think I will regret it, but I will leave the shield behind. I will leave the silk touch pick behind. Maybe I need some... Do I need to repair? Yes, maybe I should repair the chest plate. I don't need the spruce logs, so let's put this away. Wheat can stay here. Lettuce can stay here. Fortune, efficiency. Yeah, I don't want to go caving or so I think I will leave this X here as well. Shears could be of importance. Fishing rod, not so much. Torches are important. Dirt is important. Yeah, I think those things are important. This gives me plenty of space to craft new things. Well, paper. Well, I think I can leave the paper here as well because I don't have redstone and iron to craft a new compass. Alright, horse, we need to secure you, and yeah, let's start with the research. Let's talk a little bit about research. And today I like to present you my theoretical model, the underlying model that I like to introduce, that I like to prove correct with all my other experiments. And yeah, I think we start with the model I called the Gamified Knowledge Encoding. I mean, that's a pretty straightforward name, isn't it? Gamified Knowledge Encoding model. It's all about how you can encode knowledge in a computer game so that you can use this knowledge in order to play the game and to train this knowledge by applying it and by receiving some audiovisual feedback about the correctness of your interactions. And that's really what this model is all about. So it defines how you can get knowledge into your computer game. It also defines how you can shall I? Yeah, maybe I will just take some ingredients with me and grab the thing again, the paper. Maybe this would be a good thing to do. All right. I really hope this won't break the the anvil. This would be bad. Let's just see. This is 3. All right, I can afford this. Okay, anvil is still there. This is good. Let's put the chest piece back on and head off. In which direction do I need to walk? I need to walk first this way. All right. Or can I when I think I will leave that map when I get back to the storage building. All right. So, yeah. What are the bases? Why am I researching this? Why have I proposed this model? Well, I found a pretty interesting definition for the conditions for optimal learning. I mean, I'm quite sure those who are specialized in pedagogy and education won't agree with me, but I find this this definition for optimal learning quite good and quite helpful for my research, because yeah, it states for optimal learning you need a high motivation to tackle and repeat training exercises requiring pre-existing knowledge and providing immediate feedback. So, this sounds pretty good, because when we think about computer games, yeah, raise a high motivation. So when we play a computer game, we are super motivated to play the game. We are super excited about the game. We want to continue with the game. We want to play the game. We don't want to stop playing the game. And one of the main reasons for this is probably the flow-inducing aspects of a computer game. So I think I need to get a little bit closer to here to get the northernmost region of the map. Wow, this map is super large. I'm walking for quite a distance already, and I don't start to remove those pixels in the upper left corner. Okay, this will take some time. Yeah, so that's the flow-inducing aspect of playing computer game, that we have all the time new challenges and we get constant feedback. We have clear goals, and all of this leads to a high motivation that we just want to continue. We want to remain in the zone. We want to just continue doing what we are doing, and yeah, this is why computer games are so effective, so cool, so motivating, and that's also why it's so much fun playing computer games. And yeah, I think I need to speed up explaining all of this, because otherwise we won't get to an end by the end of this episode. So yeah, then computer games, of course, we repeat training exercises, so we constantly execute certain game mechanics while playing the computer game, and so we constantly repeat this. For instance, playing Kerbal Space Program, when we want to launch a rocket into space, we constantly have to follow the laws of physics. We have to adhere to the underlying physical principles. We need to follow the ideal rocket equation when we design a rocket to basically get the right performance, get the right delta V, and by doing so, we are repeating this knowledge. We are repeating the exercises created by the game tasks. Pre-existing knowledge. Well, on the one hand, we can apply things we learned in other games, or we learned in via other means. For instance, visiting a lecture or so, and yeah, what is going on? Why so much lag? Why so much lag, Minecraft? I thought this problem would have been fixed, but guess not. Maybe it's because of a map or so. So yeah, if we go to a lecture, so if we read something, then we apply it in a computer game, we of course have pre-existing knowledge. Or when we just see it from a game design approach, by playing a tutorial, we learn some knowledge about the computer game. We learn how to successfully play the game, and in subsequent missions we practice this pre-existing knowledge and we learn new knowledge. And finally, immediate feedback. I mean, hey, we see it. When I look at the map, I see that the map gets revealed, so I get immediate feedback. When I fight with a zombie and I take damage, I get immediate feedback. So I constantly get feedback if my actions are correct or not. And well, in Kerbal Space Program, the rocket just explodes and gives me feedback that, okay, I apparently did something wrong. And so yeah, computer games. Computer games fulfill the conditions for optimal learning, which is super cool, which is basically the underlying basis for my research. And the main question, however, is how is specific knowledge, for instance, spaceflight knowledge or any other knowledge, encoded and trained using computer games? And there I came up with, okay, this is done by game mechanics, because game mechanics are really the building blocks of a computer game. Game mechanics really encode the rules of a computer game. They structure the gameplay. They define what is possible and how you can win, what is victory, what is defeat. And so, yeah, game mechanics are basically the data of a computer game, and they encode a specific knowledge. For instance, well, we can distinguish. Let's start with this. We can distinguish between two different types of game mechanics. On the one hand, we do have a player-bound game mechanics. By the way, I'm proposing those two terms, game-bound and player-bound game mechanics. That's also a thing I contribute in my paper. And shoot. Okay. Oh dear. So yeah, player-bound game mechanics. Player-bound game mechanics are those like swinging the axe, swinging the sword, doing an attack. The game mechanics encode some knowledge. The knowledge is the range of my sword attack, for instance. So if I try to hit the cow from here, I can't reach it. And then we have player-bound game mechanics. Game-bound mechanics. Game-bound mechanics are executed by the game itself. So they create the challenge, they create the game world. Those cows, for instance, are game-bound game mechanics. They are here, and I can interact with them using other game mechanics, player-bound game mechanics. So I could just slaughter this cow if I want to, but I don't. And yeah, so we do have some knowledge already here. We do have the range of my sword attack. We do have the amount of health for the cows, or their speed when they are running away, and all of this is knowledge I can learn by playing the game, or I can learn new knowledge, or there's knowledge like what is the speed at which I can walk. And yeah, in the end, those two game mechanics, or those two game mechanic types, interact with each other. For instance, this little guy here is now creating this challenge for me, and set me on fire. So I also got immediate feedback about the correctness, that what I did was not correct, apparently. Yeah, so this created a simple challenge. I had to attack this guy, I had to dodge this guy, still attack it with my sword. And yeah, this is knowledge. This is game knowledge. And my idea is that you can, of course, exchange those internal game rules with other rules. For instance, rules of orbital mechanics, rules of linear algebra, rules of mathematics, rules of coding, rules of whatever you want to encode in a computer game. And then those knowledge rules you want to train become the rules of the computer game. So suddenly you don't have just to know, okay, this is the range of my sword attack and this is the speed at which I can swing my sword. No, suddenly you also know, or you have to understand the underlying knowledge for, let's say, doing some mathematical operations or so. And by just encoding this knowledge, by making it to the game rules, you can require a player to apply this knowledge, and you can also, by encoding it in player and game-bound mechanics, provide audiovisual feedback about, on the one hand, how this knowledge works, so you can present how the underlying principles work. On the other hand, you can provide the player with immediate feedback about the correctness. Was the approach right or was the approach wrong? And so I think that knowledge can be encoded and trained with computer games by encoding it in their game some the next step, I also have a knowledge presentation. Knowledge presentation means, on the one hand, how is the game mechanic itself structured. So here I just click the mouse button and I swing the sword. So and also the visual representation of swinging the sword is basically the presentation of the knowledge. This is the way how things got presented, and when I attack something and I don't hit it, then I don't see this damage thing, the damage animation, and when I hit things, then I see this damage animation. On the other hand, my model also provides in the knowledge presentation moderation. Moderation means that you can scale the level of abstraction of the knowledge. So while swinging the sword is a pretty simple and straight. Oh shoot! I should have kept the map out. It's a pretty straightforward thing, so it's pretty easy. There's not much to reduce, but if you go for very complex knowledge like my affine transformation, linear algebra, matrix multiplication, this is difficult. And for instance, by reducing it to just, okay, let's use just some vectors instead of 4x4 matrices, then things are already much more intuitive, much more simpler. And so you also have the opportunity to basically scale down the level of abstraction of your knowledge you want to encode. And by doing so, you make things more intuitive. It's easier for players or students, users who like to learn something, to understand those things and to at first develop a basic understanding of them, then over time reduce the moderation of the level of abstraction, so getting closer to the real knowledge. And so you slowly approach the full-blown, super crazy, demanding abstract knowledge. And that's super cool. You can realize this, for instance, using difficulty levels. On easy difficulty, you just have to apply a basic type of knowledge, and later on it gets more and more complex. So this way you can also make the entire training process more intuitive. And in the end, by being required to use those player-bound game mechanics to interact with the world, and by the way, this interaction between a player-bound and game-bound game mechanic creates the gameplay. For instance, with this little baby zombie that approached me, this was gameplay, and it was created by this game-bound baby zombie that approached me and my sword attack and my ability to move. And that's, in the end, as I said, creating the gameplay, which is super cool. So yeah, with the gameplay and the requirement of applying the knowledge, for instance, to defeat this baby zombie, I have some knowledge training because I repetitively and periodically apply this knowledge to solve puzzles, to escape dangerous situations, which is basically the foundation for my entire training process. And now it gets a little bit more complex because the training takes place on the levels of human performance. There are 3 levels of human performance. The first one is skill-based human performance. So at this level, you don't really think about it. It's like driving a car or just looking left to right. Or so you just do it without actually thinking about it. You can't really explain the integral steps of this action. You just do it, and it's basically totally automized. So it happens without your conscious effort. The next level is the rule-based level of human performance. Here you know the rules and you can repeat them. You can clearly define what you're doing. For instance, math is often such a rule-based thing, or where you just follow strict rules and you know those rules. And this is basically the skill-based level. Finally, we do have the knowledge-based level. This is basically where you have already a certain understanding and you use the knowledge you have to solve unfamiliar problems. For instance, transferring the knowledge from the game environment to the real world or to a completely different context. And this is the ultimate goal, that you, by training the knowledge in a computer game, are able to transfer this knowledge to a different context. And that's the main goal. This is done as when you apply knowledge on a skill-based or rule-based level of human performance, you also create mental models for it. Mental models are basically internal representation of the knowledge that allow you to internally visualize facts. So I'm quite sure you can all come up with an example for a mental model where you just know, okay, when I now bend or turn the thing in this way, then a certain other thing will happen. So basically you have it for your inner eye, in front of your inner eye, and this helps you to transfer the knowledge to a different context. So ultimately, by playing a game and receiving audiovisual feedback and receiving audiovisual presentation, the game helps you to create those and to compile those mental models for the knowledge. You periodically repeat this knowledge, so you get more. You practice the application. So this means, in case of now we have also to distinguish knowledge. On the one hand, we have procedural knowledge. This means those are basically actions like driving a car, like throwing a ball, and procedural knowledge or skills. You at first have rules. You know, okay, driving a car, you need to step on the clutch pedal and then grab the lever for the gears to shift and shift up, shift down, and so on. And over time, as you practice it and as you start to automate it, it really gets to this skill-based level. So at first, you just follow those rules. The performance of the skill is poor. But over time, you really start to internalize the skill and you just do it without thinking about it anymore. And this is procedural knowledge. At first happens on the rule-based level of human performance and later on a skill-based level of human performance. On the other hand, you have declarative knowledge. Declarative knowledge are facts, mathematical rules, history facts, all those things that are not skills, basically. And here, with repeated practice, with deliberate practice, you can internalize them, but they will continue to be on the rule-based level of human performance and but become more pattern-driven. So you have a certain understanding, you solve. The more problems you solve, the better your understanding is, the easier it is for you to transfer this knowledge, to apply this knowledge, to solve unfamiliar problems. And so the training just makes declarative knowledge more pattern-driven and easier to understand for you. So in the end, we have those two knowledge types. We can encode both knowledge types in a computer game. Skill-based procedural knowledge, for instance, racing game, driving a car. We all know this is possible. We can learn how to drive a car. We saw that I can learn how to successfully park a huge trailer of a truck by playing a game or so. So that's super cool. And the same thing applies to declarative knowledge. I mean, Kerbal Space Program. We all know that we learn more about orbital mechanics by playing that game, which is also super cool. And at the same time, we develop we compile mental models for this knowledge, and those mental models then help you to transfer this knowledge to a different context. And that's basically that's basically a quick description of my model. I'm quite sure I totally confused you right now, but maybe you developed a certain understanding what I do. So basically, my idea is, if you do have a certain knowledge, you take this knowledge, you transform the knowledge into strict rules that can be used as game rules. So you basically see, okay, there's this rule I have to do, and you turn it into a game mechanic. Then you have to find a way if you want to reduce its level of abstraction or not. And you have to find the right game mechanic that mediates it, so that really symbolizes, that creates an audiovisual representation of this knowledge. And then you also need some game-bound game mechanics that create a challenge, that create the ultimate learning affordance. So learning affordance means you have a requirement to apply this knowledge, and at the same time you receive immediate feedback about the underlying principles, which happens with those game-bound game mechanics, like this zombie or creeper stuff getting closer to you, and when you're not fast enough, you take damage or so. So there you get your immediate feedback, and just by doing this, you can create awesome and cool games that are well suited and well designed and well tailored to target transfer-oriented knowledge training. So, oh dear, creepers. That's my model. And to summarize everything, my main contribution with the Gamified Knowledge Encoding model is, or are, I define the training effects of game mechanics. We just talked about this. I define how knowledge is encoded in game mechanics. I just explained this to you, separating or segmenting knowledge into clear game rules that can be mapped to game mechanics, and creating an interaction with the game mechanics to create learning affordances. I, by doing so, created guidelines for the development of serious games. Serious games are those that go beyond the entertaining aspect and also target, well, knowledge education or training or any other thing that has a more serious application. And finally, this model also allows us to predict the training effects of a certain game. I mean, when we look at Kerbal Space Program, we see, okay, there's this knowledge encoded in those game mechanics. So by executing those game mechanics, I probably will learn more about orbital mechanics. And yeah, those are the 4 contributions of my model. And with this, we are also at the end of this episode. I hope I haven't completely confused you. I hope this makes sense. By the way, I will put the reference to the paper into the video description. So if you are a scientist, you want to cite my Gamified Knowledge Encoding model, please do so. I would much appreciate it if you would cite it. And yeah, if you do have any question about it, please let me know. Ask it in the comment section. And speaking of game-bound game mechanics, there's a game-bound game mechanic approaching us. This is a creeper guy, and we got immediate feedback. We got feedback about the correctness of our interactions. We defeated that guy. So, with this, we are at the end. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful, interesting, and cool. And I hope I see you again in the next episode, when we will talk about Kerbal Space Program. So, with this, thank you so much for watching. Until then, my name is Sebbi. See you!